Hello, movie lovers, and I want to just go on ahead and talk about my top five favorite vampire movies. The first one I want to get in Vampire. Now, this movie came out between 93 or 94. I forgot the exact year, but Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt and everything were getting ready to be even bigger stars than what they are now. As a matter of fact, this is actually what jump started their career, I believe. But just if you think about this movie was beautifully well shot. It was about this movie actually screamed a horror movie. And I actually love this movie because of the way that gave you that horror tone to vampires, unlike what we see today, especially with the whole entire Twilight movies and stuff like that. And it gave, and with this vampire movie and everything, it's just fantastically well done. It also, I think it was also nominated at the time and stuff like that too. And it even had Antonio Banderas in the movie, and it had a well cast. It was just well casted, and everything flowed just right. A flavor to just go on ahead and give us that horror type feel to it. And this is the movie that's actually missing out of what we need today, because I feel like we need a dark sense of a vampire movie, unlike what we had before now. And I feel like Interview with the Vampire is one of those movies that you're gonna actually enjoy it, that you're actually gonna have because I know that I had a great time watching this. Another movie I want to also mention is the Lost Boys. Now, the Lost Boys movie came out in the 80s and everything in the 80s, nostalgia to it and a huge fan base. And I'm one of those people that actually enjoy. Every time it comes on DirecTV, I go ahead and I always end up watching it, even though I have the DVD of the movie. This movie has such an it's cheesy. I'm gonna give you that. The movie is man, is it just a perfectly well executed movie in some ways. But even though it does have some about in the movie and everything, and that's the whole fact is, how do they let the vampires in to this person's house without even being invited in? That's the only thing that I have to get on with that part. But other than that, I mean, Keith Sutherland's in it. Then, man, I can't even describe how well this movie is because it holds such a great value into my heart. A vampire movie should be done well, very well, instead of doing what I already captured everything on the first half. But I just feel like it's kind of um and everything, you actually do need to have that kind of vampire movie, even if it is cheesy. And it gives me great pleasure to actually talk about this movie. And I wasn't even scared of the vampires or anything like that. I became more fascinated with the vampires and the genre and everything else that go along with it. And I also felt like, you know, into it about what it's like to be move into a new city and everything and discover that be infested with vampires. Kind of 80s movies and stuff like that. I recommend this movie for you for the simple fact is you're going to see a lot of cheesiness to it. You're going to have a lot of sense of humor in this movie that's actually 80s style. And you can't go wrong with 80s movies in my opinion. And I feel like that you guys are going to have a great time watching. It even goes into the saying that this even goes in with vampires as well. I mean, when I mean by vampires, I mean the comic books thing too, where the kids are actually telling the other kid who just moved into the city, "Hey, you need to go on ahead and look up some vampire facts so that way you can do some vampire that being screwed in the end." So that's another thing I have to say about that. I'm also going to mention Bram Stoker's Who's It and stuff like that. But man, I love the movie for the simple fact is, yeah, it has Keanu Reeves in it, and yes, it seems like he's just a beach bum. The deal where the accents are really bad in this movie, and Winona Ryder's in it. But man, you can't deny how beautifully well shot this movie was, and how well executed these actors were trying to do to capture all the all the horror feel to this whole entire movie is out there and wants to suck other people's blood and stuff. I mean, I haven't seen this movie. You just need to go ahead and check it out. It came out in the 19 about maybe 93, again about 94, something like that. I remember going as a kid and going to see this movie and being creeped out with it, but not creeped enough out to really enjoy vampire movies if it's set up right. And the plot line is good. It's pretty paint by the numbers kind of deal. You have Dracula trying to suck somebody else's blood. You also trying to go after somebody else's girlfriend and stuff. Keanu Reeves trying to actually save the day. And like, even though it's paint by the numbers, number two on the list is actually gonna be Queen of the Damned. And I know some people don't like that movie either, but you know what? I'm a metalhead. I love heavy metal. I love the storyline between everything else, and just the way everything like was perfectly well done. The dialogue, not so much, but you don't really need to have a strong dialogue for a horror movie or anything like that because you're not really going in for an Academy Award winning type of thing whenever you have a movie. Good plot, good actors, and this is it actually gave me everything I wanted in a horror movie. It gave me Lestat trying to call out all the vampires and everything out of hiding, and the vampires are pissing about, which is actually the stuff that they do to humans, or among the shadows, and he wants them to be free, and the vampires don't want that or anything like that because they want to be hidden behind. And anyways, this and like I said, I love the soundtrack to this movie too because you have Jonathan Davis from Korn in this. You have Disturbed, a whole list of great artists in this whole entire movie. Even Static X. It actually just brings more flavor to the whole entire movie itself. And I recommend that you guys go in and check this movie out. It starred Aaliyah. Aaliyah died. It was actually a great movie, in my honest opinion. I think you guys will like Metalhead. It has a great effect on people and music in general because of the fact that what they were able to do with that movie. And yes, to it. And at that time, The Matrix and everything too was also pretty popular. So pretty much you have movies like Dracula 2000 trying to copy The Matrix and everything, and this is also style in a way, but still it was perfectly well done to the point where I can't say anything negative about the movie in itself because it actually worked. Number one, I'm gonna have an 80s version, not the remake, but I'm gonna get to that movie in a minute because I'm gonna do some honorable mentions. 80s movie, it has an 80s flavor to it. It has a great classic feel to it. And not only that, but even the special effects were perfectly well done during that time because guess what, kids? There's no such thing as CGI. There's nothing like that. All you had to go on was real practical effects, and the real practical effects in this movie and everything too, because of the fact that they were able to do a lot more with the makeup and everything, and it made it look like it was real looking. And what this movie is basically about is it's about this kid. He winds up finding out his neighbor is a vampire, trying to protect his parents and everything from the vampire. The vampire comes over. The mother invites him in. Next thing you know, stuff goes down, and that's all I'm gonna have to drawn out, paint by the numbers type of deal. But if you're looking for a great '80s kind of flick then I'm also going to do some honorable mentions. Number one is going to be the movie Vampires. It stars James Woods, and pretty much he's a bounty hunter for vampires. He's going around looking for vampires. He wants to kill into everything, trying to find vampires. And then until one day, a vampire kingpin comes around and tries to kill him and his crew. He winds up trying to go after this vampire. And it's kind of cheesy too in a way and everything because it came out in the 90s and it has that 90s dialogue. But it was a John Carpenter film and everything. It intrigued me to even want to watch the movie. And I saw this movie maybe when I was like maybe 12, maybe I really enjoyed it. And I feel like too that this movie is actually one of those movies that people are actually going to go out and enjoy this movie whenever they have a chance because of the fact that it has a great plot, the special effects are good, Woods in it, so you can't really go wrong with James Woods because he's a great actor in my opinion. And lastly, and not least, I feel like, this is a perfect, well executed something going on in this movie. I'm also going to do the remake to Fright Night. And, at first I'm like, why do they need a remake to Fright Night? Fright Night is a classic. It should not be remade. Colin Farrell played a very, very good role in this movie. They changed a few things up to a more updated movie and stuff like that. And I really thought it was perfectly well done because of how old the 1980s version is compared to the Fresh. They made it new. They made it their own movie because when you make a remake, it's supposed to stand on its own and you're not supposed to compare it to the thing in this movie was even compared to the original movie at all. You had Helsing still, but you still had an original type of movie into something, and it stood on its own merit. And I actually enjoyed it, and I think that you guys should go ahead and check it. So, with that being said, I want to go ahead and end this right now, and tell me what you guys think. Did you guys like any of the vampire movies that I listed? What's your top 5? Please tell me below. I would like to know because we're all movie lovers. We all love the same stuff, just about. So why not? Anyways, don't forget to like and subscribe below. And until next time, bye-bye.